Welcome to the Fitness Freedom Podcast. Today I have a special guest, Paula Atkinson. She is a psychotherapist, professor, and author based in Palm Springs, California. She blends anti-diet, health at every size, and body liberation in her approaches to her work. And her lived experiences also shape her work as an obese teen, nearly dying from anorexia and being in
Right.
recovery. She recently opened up about her experiences on Jubilee Media's Surrounded series, One Health Expert versus 20 Body Positivity Activists, which is how we connected. And
Yeah.
full circle, wonderful moment. She also has her own podcast called What If Nothing's Wrong with You? And she's here to share her expertise, her knowledge, and her experience. And I'm so glad to have you. Very, very excited to have you. This has been like something I've been really grateful for the last since we connected. So welcome,
Oh, yay.
Paula.
That was such a beautiful introduction, Michelle. Thank you so much. Yay. I'm very
Mhm.
excited to be here.
Yeah, and for the listeners, I have a podcast episode, The Truth About Health and Body Positivity, where I mentioned that Jubilee
Totally.
debate, and then Paula Mess emailed me and shared about her work. I'd be like, oh my God, I would love to have you on the podcast.
Yay.
We're
Yeah.
so aligned. And it's like just such a full circle, beautiful, synchronistic moment of connection.
hmm
So I'm so
Yay.
glad you reached out and I'm glad you're here.
Yay. Thanks. Yeah. I mean, your response to the email was amazing. It's so funny when people are like, oh my God, you were on that. It was a very wild experience. It was so weird. Yeah.
I bet. It looks so fast paced too. Um,
It was. It was not fun. I don't know if you've spoken to anybody else who was in that room. Yeah, I would not do it again. It was not super fun. I'm glad I did it and I'm proud of what I said and I'm proud that I was there, but I would never do it again. It was terrible. It was not
Too
fun.
stressful.
So stressful and also like I prepare, I'm a compulsive A student. I'm a only child compulsive A student. Like I prepared so much. Like I know what I'm talking about. Like I taught a college course. I created and taught a body justice course for George Washington University, so I know what I'm talking about. And so I was so prepared, and then it's like 30 seconds in, I was like, oh, she's not gonna listen to a word any of us, like she's
Mm.
not here to actually hear any of us, which I knew. I mean, it's Jillian Michaels. Like I don't know in what world I thought she was gonna like sit down and listen to us. But I was like, I just really wanted what this feels like, which is like, let's explore this and let's be curious and let's learn more about the history of fat phobia and diet culture and dieting. And there was none of that. And so I felt really defeated very, very early on. And I was like, oh, and I'm old. So I did not know about Jubilee. I didn't know what this whole thing was. So I think I was a little deluded going in and I thought it was going to be something else and it wasn't, but that's okay. I mean, it was,
Yeah.
again, I'm proud of what I said, and I'm grateful for I'm grateful that I got to meet a lot of my heroes, a lot of my body justice, body liberation heroes were in that room, and that was amazing. But yeah, it was
Yeah.
so
It,
stressful.
It's kind of like you had the rug pulled out from you where you slid on the floor before it even started. You didn't
Totally.
have like equal ground in some ways.
No, no, no. But it happened, and it got led me to you, and it's led me to some other people, and yeah, that part I'm
Yeah,
grateful
yeah,
for.
take the good out of it. And also, it's different here. I'm not going to argue with you or debate you. You
I
can
appreciate that.
actually have space to share. So, Paula, can you tell us a little bit more about your story? I know you
Sure.
experienced your own eating disorder and how
Yeah.
you came to this work. And can you tell us more about what you do? And like, I just want to hear everything. Share what
Okay.
you'd like.
Oh, thank you. Okay, sure. So I was a fat kid, and I was just a fat kid. And I think, as we do in this culture, because we're brainwashed to believe that everybody has 100% control over their body shape 100% of the time, our culture, I was, violated. My body was violated by the comments of adults from a very, very young age. So I was bullied. And what happened, and I've heard this from so many clients since, and I write about this, and is that I started to behave the way that everybody was telling me I was behaving, meaning I was just a fat kid, but everybody was talking about how much I must be eating, and I'm not eating the right things, and blah blah blah. And it turns out I started to overeat, I put that in quotes, like whatever the hell that
Hmm.
even means, right? And so then I lived through that. I was diagnosed, I put obese in quotes too, and we can talk
Yeah.
more about why that's in quotes, right? I was diagnosed obese at 16. And then I started dieting, and the diet quickly snowballed into just outright starvation. And by the time I was 21, I almost died of starvation. I was in inpatient treatment for a year
Wow.
in 1997, which is a
Wow.
very wild time to be in treatment for an eating disorder because there was the ramping up of like the moral panic of obesity, right? And the obesity epidemic. Again, I put all this in quotes. So
Hmm.
as the world was like freaking out because everybody's obese and we're all going to die, I was trying to eat. I was trying to eat enough to exist.
Mm.
And then I became a yoga teacher and got really into that, which I love, from California. So of course, and then and then I decided to become a therapist, but I was like, I didn't want to be an eating disorders therapist because I have firsthand knowledge of how
Mhm.
specifically crazy we are. And then I went in and I was working with aging adults, and I was working with people with alcohol and substance abuse. But then when I worked at the substance abuse clinic, every time somebody had a client that had an eating disorder, I felt unreasonably possessive of them. And every time they told me that they said this to the client or that, I would freak out and say like, oh my God, I can't believe you said that to him. So it became patently obvious that I had to work with people with eating disorders.
Mm.
And then I got hired to teach a course at George Washington University in 2013. So this is right around the time like Dr. Lindo Bacon and Dr. Susie Affamore put out the Health at Every Size book. And so there was a course at GW called Weight and Society. And it was when it was given to me, it was a course about like how to stay at a healthy weight.
Mm.
And then I took it, Michelle, and I completely changed it into like a social justice course about the
Wow.
history of fat phobia and the intersection of white supremacy, capitalism, classism, colonialism, and our worship of thinness. And so I totally revamped it and
Yes.
California'd it. Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
And I got in trouble a couple times from the medical department at George Washington University, but I was really passionate about it, and it was really cool. And then that was about the time that I started working with more and more clients who struggle with, and I don't really say I work with eating disorders because that's a really, in our culture, we think of that as such a narrow group of people. I like to say that I treat body hatred because I think that's so much more broad. And I think I wouldn't even want to guess the number of, and I know you work with people too, right? The percentage of people in our culture that struggle with that. You know, it's such a bigger population. So I don't want people to not seek help because they don't have a quote unquote diagnosable eating disorder. You know, if you hate your body, if you have anxiety about food, if you are obsessed with good bad food and good bad bodies and blah blah blah, like that's what I treat. And
Hmm.
sometimes that's people who have had diagnosable eating disorders, and a lot of times it's just like a lot of people, I'm 50, a lot of women and non-men my age who have been dieting their whole lives. And men too, but the majority is like queer people, women. Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah, people of color, queer people,
exactly.
women, the people with less power in our society, all of
Exactly.
that. I wonder why.
I know.
Right? Correlation
Right.
there, yeah.
Exactly.
So yeah, that's such a misunderstood topic of like eating disorders. People say, "Oh,
Mhm.
I don't have an eating disorder because I don't present as that side." There's the diagnostic
Yes.
criteria. But then if I broaden that to like, I love that definition, body hate, that includes m pretty much all of us. Yeah.
So many of us, right? Because it is, and that's by design, that's one of the messages I feel like I want everyone to hear is that, like, it's not an accident that you hate your body. It's not an accident that you are obsessed with food. It's not like this is all deliberate so that, the people the people, the women, the people of color, the people that are brainwashed to hate their bodies the most are dissociated, are devalued, are, they are disempowered by the hatred of their bodies, so that we are obsessed with our thighs our whole life instead of taking over the world, which is what we should be doing.
Yeah, it's meant to disempower us. Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah, so
Yes.
you're in the tr like you're in the trenches, so to speak. You're like in this. And I
Hmm.
also can identify with this. Like I take,
Of course.
read all the things, listen to all the things, work, talk with people like you. But I find that I come out of that bubble a little bit and I'm in the world with my friends, with people, strangers, and then I'm like, whoa, people don't really know this. And so
No.
I would like, if you don't mind, to share a little bit more about like traits of diet culture, this fitness culture, this oppressive culture, like how can we identify it? And I know some people are not that interested in
Yeah.
like change or redoing it. They just want to lose
Yeah.
weight. Like I get that, but like how do
Totally.
we get from
Sure.
like how do we identify it? How do we like realize what's going on really?
Yeah. I like the way you're saying all that. Yeah. And I know what you mean too. Like I'm in a world with all of my colleagues, all of my friends, all of my people. I'm a queer person. I'm around mostly queer people who are, hip to the fact that we do not participate in institutionalized fat phobia. But then, yeah, then you go talk to other people, right? And the comfort with which people sort of say fat phobic things or say diet cultural things, and they think it's innocuous, right? They don't think that there's a problem with it, right? And then I think that's why I was so passionate about teaching about how fat phobia is white supremacy, fat phobia is patriarchy, fat phobia is capitalism. So I think, the way I usually describe it, I stole from Sonia Renee Taylor's book, The Body is Not an Apology, right? And people usually get it when I say it this way, which is that, right, she outlines it beautifully, beautiful book. If you want like a beginner's course in, body liberation, The Body is Not an Apology is a beautiful book.
It is, it
But she
is.
talks about, right, it's so good, the hierarchy of bodies, right? And so we are brainwashed to believe that we can tell a person's morality, we can tell a person's character based on where they fall on this imaginary delusional collectively delusional hierarchy of bodies, right? So the top of the tier is a cis straight white skinny male, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then all of us are below him, right? According to race, according to money, according to fatness, right? And so at the bottom would be, I think in our fucked up culture would be, oh, I'm sorry, am I allowed to swear on
Yes,
your podcast?
please do.
Okay,
Yes.
good, okay.
Hmm.
So at the bottom would be like a trans black fat woman, right? Like it would be,
Hmm.
that would be the bottom. And so one of the things I try to explain, I to like older family members, right? Like sometimes people of the generation right above mine struggle with this, right? And I try to explain to them that like when I'll keep it to myself, so I'm not accusing anybody of anything. But one of the ways in which I busted myself out of thin worship is to recognize that when I hate my thighs, when I think I am too fat, I am oppressing in that moment everyone below me on this
Mm-hmm.
bizarre imaginary hierarchy. And
Mm-hmm.
I am a white cis woman who can shop at Target, right? Like I'm doing fine. I am not the most oppressed person in the world, but to participate in it, to just say things like, oh, I need to lose 10 pounds, I know that feels innocuous and everybody says it. But what you're actually saying is everyone fatter than me, everyone browner than me, everyone blacker than me, everyone poorer than me, everyone less, they are below me. And I know that sounds extreme to a lot of people, but when you really, I will speak for myself, when I really allowed myself to know that that's what I'm participating in that system when I talk poorly about my body, it was really helpful. It was actually really one of the most powerful tools I used to sort of wrench myself out of this system. Like I don't want to participate in that. Does that make sense?
It does, and that is a beautiful way to put it. And then I'm thinking also the other way around when we're trying to elevate our social status or
Yeah.
even find some value in this hierarchy,
Yeah.
we are, trying to get closer subconsciously to that straight,
Yes.
cis, white, thin man in some
Yes.
way. And
Right.
that is so sad. It's like we're pushing our, like trying to control
Yes.
ourselves to get to this elusive, fake, made up,
We're
delusional thing.
yeah. There's a concept within like sociology called identification with the aggressor, right? And it's like when we feel oppressed. This is why I think like with uh the book Fearing the Black Body, right? But she talks so much about it, and she talks about wanting to learn more about fat phobia after working specifically with people who are HIV positive, a lot of like women of color. And she was like, this is fascinating. Like, why are these women of color not taking their HIV meds because they're afraid of getting fat? And then she went into this whole thing, and it's like, yeah, you may not, it's not a conscious thing that you are identifying with the aggressor, that you are trying to be closer to whiteness, trying to be closer to the ruling class, but it is, that's precisely what it is. And so to know that, and not from a guilty and shameful place, like I'm
Hmm.
totally against any sort of shaming of oneself, not from a shaming place, but just as a like, wow, how fascinating that the culture has convinced us all that that's what we have to be striving for in order to have dominance, in order to be more acceptable.
Yeah, and I know in philosophy what we're talking about makes so much sense, right?
Sure.
It does make sense. And someone who's listening to this who might not be as familiar with these ideas might be like, that's interesting. I can think about that. But
Sure.
unless, like, but we're so like surrounded by like
I know.
GLP-1
I
ads.
know.
Oh, this celebrity lost 10 pounds. This we see before and after pictures. Like all the
Right.
fitness stuff is pushing this thin ideal. Like
Right.
it's hard to like
It's so
go
hard.
against. So like
So
how
hard.
are we like how do we I like start to leave that culture or how do we even like how do we know we're ready? How do we start making
Yeah.
steps? Like where do we begin to
Yeah.
start moving away from that if that's like a direction we want to go to?
Yeah, I mean, I totally get that, right? Like that we're talking about like big, lofty kind of philosophical things, but it does. I guess where I usually go with my clients is down these two roads when they ask things like that. Like that's cute, but also I still want to lose weight, right? Like,
Mm-hmm, exactly.
right? Like, okay. So number one, like I taught myself. I learned how to treat body hatred by getting trained on how to help women leave cults, basically,
Let's get into it. Let's
right?
get into
And
it. Yeah.
because it's the same thing, because like diet culture is a cult, thin worship is a cult. So, and the main thing that was taught over and over that I still treat the way I treat my clients is like, we're going to do all of this work and you're still going to have a part of your brain that says, I need to lose 10 pounds. That's okay. You're never going to, this is kind of like I don't know if you're familiar with parts work, right? Like,
I
if
am. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So it's like, she's always going to be there. Like a lot of my clients, we talk about like, okay, your anorexic part is not going anywhere. We're not getting rid of her. Also, she's not stupid. She's not dumb. Like that's not why she wanted to lose weight is because she's a bad person or she's stupid. She wanted to lose weight because she was taught that that's the way to gain some power. That's the way to not, I mean, as a fat kid, I will tell you, my life socially changed a lot when I lost a lot of weight. Like she's not stupid. We keep her in there and we're like, yes, thank you for that input, right? We don't blame yourself or get mad at yourself when you have those thoughts. And the more you can kind of bring her in and the more you can let her be there, in the same way that you had a part when you were 6 that was afraid of the monster in the closet, you probably are not afraid of the monster in the closet anymore. But it's okay that she was there, right? You may still get spooked if you watch a scary movie or whatever. It's okay. You don't get mad at yourself. You don't shame yourself for that. You just let her be there while you also, in your grown up brain or your social, sometimes I'll say in my social justice brain, am like, I'm not going to participate in that anymore. I'm not in that cult anymore, right? I have a friend who left Mormonism because they are a queer person And they say, and we talk about this all the time, that they still every once in a while will have this thought float through their head of like, oh my God, I'm not going to get into the kingdom of heaven. And then they're like, wait a minute, I don't believe in that anymore. It's like those thoughts are still going to float through. That's okay. That's not because you're bad or wrong. It's because, they were, it's like a computer, like that programming was downloaded into your computer, but without your consent before you could even talk, right? There were grown-ups talking about your chubby thighs before you could even talk, right? So it's not your fault. And so to just let it be there.
Yeah, yeah. Because I find that a lot of the times people have that mentality. It's like, yes, I agree with this. This all makes sense, but not for
Sure.
me because I want to lose the 20 pounds or I need to look good in my body, quote unquote, good in my
Totally.
body. And it's so hard to undo. But I really
It
like that
is.
analogy with the cult because I grew up in like a cultish
Oh,
environment,
see?
religious
Yes.
environment, and it is abusive. And I've made a lot of connections
Right.
on my podcast and my work between like fitness culture being like an abuser and consent and informed consent. And it's like
Totally.
we're we've opted into something that we haven't fully had informed consent on. I
Yes.
like this whole culture of we need to be thin to, and like most of us just accept it without questioning it.
Exactly.
And so I
Right.
think your work is so important. Like what we're talking about now is so important
Yes.
because it's, inviting people to ask, hey, what is happening? So
What are you participating in? Yeah, yeah, yeah. And
exactly.
again, with no shame, absolutely no
Mm-hmm.
shame. It's not your fault you want to be thinner.
Mm-hmm.
It's not, it doesn't mean you're a bad person. Some people get really upset when I talk about the intersection of fat phobia and white supremacy, and that fat phobia is white. And then they're like, well, I'm not racist. And I'm like, no, 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 no. It's okay. It's not your fault. Like all this programming is put in your head without your consent before you could even talk. Like it's just in there. It's just now we get to, one of my favorite phrases is like, now we get to be lovingly curious about it. Like, let's be lovingly curious about it. What is it? And maybe you ask your clients something similar, like, what do you think losing 20 pounds would afford you that you can't have in this moment? Because
Mm-hmm.
that's such a silly idea. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and sometimes I'll say to clients, like, if it were true that nobody with your current body shape was happy, got to have a partner, got to go on vacation, like, if it were true that zero people in your body shape or larger were having a good life, then maybe I could get on board. But baby, there's like, there are people in bigger bodies than you having a wonderful life there, and for you to hold yourself back from having a good life because your body is the wrong shape means
Mm-hmm.
that you do believe that people bigger than you don't deserve a bigger. I know that you say, like, for me it's different, but like,
Mm-hmm.
baby, it's just not
Mm-hmm.
true. It's not true.
Yeah, it's kind of like where are we letting people dictate who we are? Like where are we
Exactly.
outsourcing our value? Where are we
Exactly.
outsourcing our worth? And I know it's easier said than done. It's a lot of
Oh,
work. It's a process.
absolutely. Oh my God. And so with my clients, I'm always like, so we let it all be true at the same time, right? I'm not asking you to give it up. I'm not saying that you're a bad person if you still want to lose weight. I'm not like, you know, a lot of times we'll name the anorexic part or name that part, right? Like, of course you still want to lose weight, girl. It's fine. It's okay. And now go live your life anyway, right? You act yourself into right thinking, right? So
There we
like,
go. Hmm.
yeah. So even just let that part be there. Right. It's sort of like, I don't know if you have the experience, but I know for me as a queer person, right? Like I still had homophobic thoughts in my head, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Hmm.
but I'm like, but I'm not gonna not go enjoy my life, You
Hmm.
kind of have to go do it anyway.
You don't have to listen to all of those voices. And
Exactly.
then even in this conversation, I'm thinking of like how the health industry.
Yes.
It's okay, so it's like, like you said, racism, anti-blackness and anti-fatness and the patriarchy has like mandated this rule of the body
Yes.
hierarchy, like you mentioned, and then uses science and health to justify it. So that's basically, that conversation with Jillian Michaels, that like whole, it
Yes.
represented that whole framework. And it's
Totally.
it's just like a cult, like or like a religion, they'll use the Bible to justify whatever they want
Exactly.
to support it. Um,
Right.
so I want to help people, like, even if it's the most accessible emotion, even get angry. But like,
Yes.
how is this culture, this diet culture, this anti-fatness? How is it harming us? How is it harming
Yes.
us? Can you just give us some maybe examples from your work or from
Yes.
facts, statistics, anything that you know, how is it actually harming us in ways that we might not realize?
Realize. Yes. Great question.
Besides the body hate and of course like keeping us
Yes.
distracted, like what is it doing to us? Like let's
Yes.
put it all out there.
Well, I mean, I will throw some statistics out, and then we can talk about like more universally, like what the dissociation from our body does, which is like that's what causes the most health issues, right? Is that
Mhm.
we are so focused on how our body looks, but like one of the most magical thing when I first read Dr. Lindo Bacon's work and Dr. Susie Aframore's work, and they went through study after study after study and showed that when people do not focus on weight, their health improves. And the more you focus on weight, the more the health decreases, right? And
Wow.
actual measures of health, not weight is a ridiculous measure of health. It is not, sometimes I get real, I'm an Aquarius, so I get real Aquarius about it. And I'm like your body's gravitational pull to the earth, what the hell does that have to do with anything? It's such a ridiculous, it's so ridiculous. And then
Hmm.
all of the truth about like the density of bones based on our ancestry, right? That like people whose ancestry is from Africa, which is all of us, long ago enough, but like people whose recent ancestry is from Africa, their bones are actually denser, their bodies are heavier, right? People from their ancestry from Asia, their bones are lighter. So it's all nonsense.
It
So
is.
it's so insane. And then, I get on the whole soapbox about BMI and how ridiculous that is and how what that is like medical health snake oil. It's so nonsensical. So, but but Dr. Lindo Bacon and Susie Aframore proved that when people just focused actually on actions that they could take that made them feel better in their bodies, their health increased exponentially. So
Mm.
the actual experience of living in their body,
Mm.
what made you feel better, your actual lived experience of living in your body. So they drank more water, they went outside, they ate an apple, right? Not from a should place,
Mhm.
not from exactly an externalized source saying this is what you should do, but from like, oh, I noticed that when I get up in the morning and I just drink coffee immediately, I get heartburn. But if I drink 10 gulps of water first, oh my God, like it seems so revolutionary, it seems so silly, but it's so revolutionary. So I think about that all the time that like that is what we are robbed of when we focus on body
Mm.
shape rather than, one of my quotes I want to trademark, but I think about all the time and I tell clients every day is like my my lived experience, my experience of living in this body is more important to me than anybody's experience of looking at this body.
Wow. That's a
Which is
really good point.
it's like so dumb, but it's like so revolutionary in our culture
Mhm.
because we're so used to externalizing what my body needs, right? And I'm not anti-vax or anything dumb like that, right? But I'm just like
Mhm.
you I know what my body if I had never been brainwashed to be obsessed with how other people perceive my body, it wouldn't have taken me until whatever 45 years old to realize that like I'm allergic to almonds. But because I was like,
Mhm.
well, almonds are healthy, you know what I mean? And I'm sure you come across this all the time where you ask clients like, well, I don't know, does that feel good? And we're
Mhm.
so outside of our bodies because we're just so obsessed with how our body how looking at my body affects them. Do people feel pleasure or do people enjoy looking at my body? Like what a silly thing to be thinking.
And that comes the word that you're describing, this being in your body, not being dissociated, is just embodiment.
Exactly.
And
Right.
yeah, that's how I describe health. Like one of the
Me too.
traits of true health is embodiment. And that's what eating disorders, diet culture, fitness culture takes us away from. It's
Absolutely.
embodiment that it takes. It. takes away our live, like you said, living in our bodies and enjoying it
Right.
and experiencing the world because we're constantly in our brains thinking about what should I do? What does this person think? How do I be accepted by
Exactly.
society? And again, like you said, there's no shame in that. It's like a survival mechanism. Like, of course,
Exactly.
there's something that's serving us by being in that place.
Of
But we
course.
realize over time this is not working.
And it can never lead to true health. I always say like it's a poor substitute for what it is we all truly want, which is to be embodied. I always say, and probably you say something similar, right? Like my body and I are a team. Like she is
Hmm.
infinitely loyal to me, infinitely on my side. I'm the asshole that keeps that
Hmm.
keeps I'm the abuser in the relationship. She is not, right? So like
Hmm.
to come back in and to trust her, she's never lied to me. She's never told me anything, like she is so loyal to me, and the culture teaches me to think of her as a betrayer, as like betraying me because she's not the right size. What the hell does that mean? Like she
Yeah.
doesn't know what the right size is. That's like a tree being the wrong size. That's not possible. The tree is the size the tree wants to be, you
Yeah,
know?
there's no wrong size for trees. And that going back to that abuse cult analogy, it makes me think of
Yes.
how like abusive cultures will take you away from people who actually love you and actually care about
Yes.
you
Isolate you.
and
Yes.
brainwash you to their,
Yes.
their mindset. So nothing else really matters. And it's like
Totally.
your body is on your side. Your like my work is around your body being your home, your ally in
Totally.
this life, like being
Yes.
in your body. And
Yes.
that's where we experience what we actually want, which is joy and happiness and peace and
Totally.
presence. That's the only place we can experience it. But the culture is really bent on taking us out of that and then just like trying
Exactly.
to sell us a solution. Okay, if you have
Yes,
this, then you'll have the peace, then you'll have the joy. And
right.
it's like we keep looking for it outside of ourselves when really the more, we become embodied in ourselves, the more that we actually experience that. And oh,
Yes.
yeah. It's like we're in this world where it's like, of course the trees aren't in it. They're not in it. I'm looking at a tree right now. So they're not in it. But like the world, the culture, the society's all in this like system. And like
Yes.
we're trying to like give people like, hey guys, come on over here. It's a lot better.
It's so much better. And your body's on your side and she loves you so much. And yeah,
Mhm.
totally. Totally. Yes.
Yes. So in your work with people and like with your experience, what kind of changes do you start to see with people who are like, okay, and even someone listening to this who's like,
Yeah.
this makes a lot of sense if I question things and I'm kind of done with this. Like the diets, I'm sick of it. I'm sick of, all this or maybe
Yes.
coming going through recovery from an eating disorder. What are some of the changes, the stages of change that people go through when they are moving towards body liberation and
Yes.
acceptance? And away from diet culture, like what
Yeah.
do you see?
I mean, I think the most fun thing, two of my favorite stages that seem to be relatively universal. Number one, you already touched on, which is the rage stage. Love the rage
Hmm.
stage,
Hmm.
right? Because anger is fire, right? And so we need like I have the tower card right here in the tarot, right? Like we
Oh,
need
cool.
we need the fire to burn down the structures that we have been imprisoned by. So we need the rage. And sometimes I tell people that at the beginning and they're like, oh, I'm not really into anger. And I'm like, well, your body is, so we'll just see. We'll just see what happens. Right. So I love that stage. And I love it when people can recognize that like, oh, I've been mad at myself and my body my whole life for being the wrong shape. Where the rage needs to go is to the cult leaders, right? Like
Hmm.
I've been mad at myself for not being a good little cult member when I need to be rageful at the cult because I there's never been anything wrong with my body. My
Yeah.
body has never been the wrong size. My body has never done anything wrong, right? So that that's so much fun for me, and you can't be shameful and rageful at the same time. You
Mm.
can only be one.
I
And
love that.
so
Love
I
that so much.
isn't that great? So
Yeah.
I loved the rage stage, especially when it's, a non-man. I love women's rage. I love queer people's rage. I love people of color's rage. I love, gender nonconforming people's rage. I love it. And then the other, the other stage that I love, or the other thing that happens universally is, I work kind of loosely with intuitive eating. I'm not a like intuitive eating expert, or I don't tell people everybody has to do that, but I do believe strongly in infinite permission. That's the word I like to use. Permission is one of my favorite words. And so inevitably someone will, I'll be like, okay, well just, oh, how about you just eat all the Oreos and just see how it feels and not feel any shame about it and just infinite permission. Let's just try it. And I always say infinite permission equals infinite choice, right? So if I have infinite permission, then immediately in that moment I have choice because you can't have choice if there's a should, because you, right? And
Consent.
so, right? Consent, exactly,
Yep.
exactly. So then inevitably we go through that, and then a couple months into sessions, they will come to a session and they'll be like, "It turns out I don't even like Oreos," and I'm like, "Amazing! Isn't that great?" Or like, "I don't even like this like food that was so demonized, or this food that was off limits, or this thing that it loomed so heavy in my mind," right? And then they'll come into a session and they're like, "Did you know that like they changed the formula in whatever in, ranch dressing? It's not even that good." And I'm like, "Isn't that amazing?" You are listening to your lived experience of
Mm.
Oreos, right? You are listening to your lived experience of this thing rather than, "I can't have it, I'm gonna have it, I'm gonna hate myself for having it, I'm gonna eat more of it than I want to eat because maybe I'm not allowed to have it tomorrow." Like all of the games are
Hmm.
gone, and you just get to, like, what is your lived experience of ho-hos? Maybe I mean, they're not that good actually, like, you know? And so that is like, mwah, that is so beautiful when that happens, when they come in and they're like, "I don't even like donuts that much," or whatever it is. And maybe it's not donuts, but whatever it is,
Yeah.
they will come and they'll be like, "Actually, I loved, Cool Ranch Doritos when I was a kid, and then I tried them, and they're not that good." And I'm like, "Amazing."
Hmm. And some people want to bypass that unlimited permission because it scares them too much, and they want to
Totally,
get to that place where like, I want to hate donuts. I don't want to eat them because they'll make me
totally.
gain weight. And you can't do that. It's like
Nope.
inherent. So just notice in your body if you are like drawn to something, like give yourself permission to do it.
Yes.
And also along same thing with like exercise. I teach a lot of like
Yes.
saying no to it. Like if you
Yes.
don't feel like it or if it's not like give yourself full permission. I've told clients like you can't give yourself full permission to say yes if you don't give yourself full permission to say no.
Yes.
And
Yes.
the other
Yes.
way around. Like you need to
Totally.
have that infinite permission,
Infinite
which I love
permission.
that. I love that
Yes.
phrase so much.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Same thing with exercise. I'll have somebody who will, and I'm like, "Okay, what if you never ran ever again?" Right? Like, would terrible things happen? Probably not. So giving them to, and then I love it when, same on the opposite end of the spectrum, they come to the session and they're like, I was craving a tomato salad, or I really wanted to go for a run. I really like my body wanted to go." And I'm like, "See, I don't like, that's so beautiful that like your body wanted to do the thing." Or like, turns out I hate running and I want to only do Zumba. Amazing. Do Zumba.
Mm-hmm.
I don't, like, who cares? So
Mm-hmm.
great. But they're listening to, like, right, when all the shoulds go away, then they can finally listen to the small voice of their body that, like, turns out I hate donuts, but I love Zumba, or whatever it is. But like, right,
Yeah.
right, great. I don't care. Fantastic.
Yeah. 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 Or I hate Zuma and I love donuts. That's all right
Yeah, great, fine, great, right? But like
too.
that it's authentic to you, that it's like you are listening, you are paying attention to your experience of it. Like, I've had so many clients start working with me and they're like, "You've ruined Pilates for me. I hate Pilates." I'm like, "I didn't ruin anything. I think you've always hated Pilates." Or some people are like, "I don't, I hate CrossFit. I love Pilates." Great, all the bodies are not meant to do all the things.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And if more of us, like, I know that change needs to happen on a systemic level and
Sure.
culture needs shifts, but I think it really begins and spreads by more of
Yeah.
us being embodied and
Yes.
just being listening to our bodies, not in a way to get anywhere, just
Yes.
listening and just
Yes.
being in our bodies and accepting it as it is. And I know that it's so hard when you look at it from the outside in, but when you're looking from the
Sure.
inside out, it all makes sense.
It
Like what
does.
you're saying. Hmm.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. And when you really, like, again, your body's not lying, right? Like, if you if you love to walk, then walk. If you love to ride your bike, then ride your bike. If you
Hmm.
love nachos, then eat nachos, right? Like
Hmm.
it's really, it feels so simple, but that, part of diet culture, part of capitalism is to make things really complicated so that you will buy more stuff, right? But like I always, when I used to teach my class, I would say like, it's actually really simple. Like your body likes to eat plants. Your body likes to eat,
Hmm.
it's like, it's not that hard. It's just that the simplicity of what true quote unquote health is doesn't make a lot of people a lot of money.
Yeah, makes more joyful people, damn it.
Exactly. And it does, and rich white men don't get rich off of us all just like eating
Mhm.
bananas and like, going on a walk. Like not rich white men don't make a lot of money off that.
Yeah, and I want to say like speak to the people who are listening who are like, "Wow, this is refreshing. This sounds good. Like I kind of want to like taste this rainbow." Um
Love that.
I recommend you to listen to this episode again because this is so
Sure.
good. And there's like
Yay.
so many little phrases and stuff. Like something that helps you just like culture has brainwashed you like brainwash yourself with good things with positive
Yes.
things like
Oh my gosh, yes.
follow Paula, follow accounts similar, like
Yes.
read good books and things that
Yes.
are along these lines. Like you mentioned some books like Fearing the Black Body and The Body is Not an
So good.
Apology. Those are good places to start. But
Absolutely.
if people want to get more in contact with you and your work, because I know you offer a lot of things, and your website is so exciting and
Oh,
colorful and vibrant. I like it. Where would you like to direct people, or where would you guide people to start with if they want to get more into your work or get more from?
Yeah. Oh, I am Paula D. Atkinson on all the things. So it's Paula D as in David in the middle, Atkinson. And you can find, that's my website. That's me on Instagram. I think that's me on TikTok. I don't know. Somebody else runs my TikTok, so I don't know what I am on TikTok. But yeah, and you can find me there. And I love hearing from people. I have a book that I just got a literary agent, and so it should be out. Who knows what when? But I do have a book that will have like my whole history and everything, and I'm really excited to get that out in the world.
Oh
So
my God. Do
yeah,
you know the title or is that hush hush or can you give us
I
more
I
details?
can I can tell you what I hope the title is, but we'll see what happens when it comes out. But at the moment, the title is Make Yourself at Home.
Oh my God, I love that so much.
I knew you would love it.
You
Yeah,
know it.
yeah.
Yeah, this has been also, I want to speak personally. This has been very refreshing for me because it's
Oh,
easy to
good.
get lost in like all the noise and like this just reminded me of why I do what I do and the work that I do.
Yes.
It's so encouraging. And you speak so well, and I know that you have so many things that you could share and talk about just off the top
Yeah.
of your brain. But I do want to ask you a question. I ask all my guests one question before we leave.
Okay. Please.
If you had one message of health to share with
Mm.
the world, so your microphone is going to all the 8 billion plus people in the world, what would you say? What would your message of health be?
Oh God, that's such a beautiful question. I just want to tell a quick story about health, and then I
Please,
promise I'll
please,
answer.
take your time.
So when I taught my course, I had this idea, and then I did it every semester, which is that at the very beginning of class, I would have all my students write down their definition of health, which is a
Mhm.
word which I'm so glad you asked this question because it's a word we throw around, but it's really hard to define. And then at the end of the semester, they would do it again. And it was really interesting to see how their ideas of health had changed. So I would define health as infinite permission, as flexibility, like not doing the same thing all the time because it's the right or the wrong thing. I would define health as like the release of binaries. I think all binaries are a lie, right? Like I would define health as infinite permission to exist, infinite
Mm.
forgiveness to myself, infinite acceptance of myself, infinite self-validation. I think that's health. I think that's where health comes from. Any version of health that doesn't come from infinite permission, I don't know. I feel like it's always just a little bit suspect,
Yeah, like a cult.
right? Just a little bit right
Is
and
this the
wrong.
cult? Probably.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
That feels a little right and wrong. And even in that, I teach yoga. I've taught yoga for 25 years. So even in the yoga rooms, I'm like, ugh, ugh, like,
I
get
know, I
really,
know.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Fitness, I know all about it. Yes.
Yeah. But we're doing
Thank-
our best. And people like you are in there so that, and whenever I get to speak to a fitness person who I align with like this, it gives me so much hope.
Infinite permission. I love that so much. Like I'm getting teary-eyed just because it's so beautiful and so true.
Right?
And thank you for sharing this like beautiful message. I hope it was more I hope it was better than that debate.
Oh my God. Can't even compare. Cannot even compare.
I'm
Yes.
so
Yes.
glad we had this conversation, Paula. Please look up Paula. Her links are in the show notes. Thank you so much for being here. I
Thank you
appreciate
for
you so
having me,
much.
Michelle. Thank you so much.
Okay, I'm gonna hit